Ahoy there, library fans! I'm sorry that I won't be able to be with you, but I wanted to be merciful and give you an easy assignment. But this is one of the most important tools you need to know. I feel like such a token YouTuber. So back in the day, when somebody would do something scholarly and they would want to share it with other people, they would do letters to like scholars and other colleges. This is like 1700s, 1600s, where they'd publish books and announce them. And then get burned at the stake by the Pope and things like that. Um, so scholarship and the Enlightenment, all of that stuff came into the idea of kind of like reproducibility, so people could see your research. And so fast forward to the 20th century, and we'd have these big indexes of everything that was published. This is an architectural index from where they broke up 1989 into architectural periodicals. And you would go through, do you want to see? They would go through and they would index every article, every publication, and then people could, researchers would, in the summertime, come to the library and they would go through these indexes and they'd go, I could see Collins was talking about the architecture of Genoa, and it was very siloed. What that means is the architects were all talking in architecture, and there was a little bit of behavioral science, and there was a little bit of engineering, and there was a little bit of everything, but it was all published in architecture. So if you go over to engineering, engineering was talking about, well, how do we keep a building from falling down? Or if you go over to social sciences, they talk about the emotion of building or modernizing it so there's no emotion. But they were all in these different silos. One of the big revolutions that happened was something that you've grown up with. It was the internet. The internet allowed us to have multidisciplinary databases. The first of which was, the first big one that I remember was JSTOR. JSTOR, you could search across all the disciplines at the same time, and this allowed a whole bunch of different interdisciplinary research to begin. The next big tool that came along, though, as we get more and more research coming out every year, it's been increasing over time since the internet came on, and now we have something like 3 million articles being published in scholarship every year. So how do we get around all of that and figure out what the most important thing is? If somebody's publishing an idea that many other people are publishing on, how do we know? So this is what our assignment is today. So there's two databases that do this. One is called Scopus. One of them is called Web of Science. They both do a similar thing. Oh no, all my leap reminders are going to start showing up. So let's go to Scopus. And your assignment is in here. And it's not a bad assignment. This is a fun one. But I had a student once that was saying, everything you taught me doesn't matter. All I need now is Scopus. I'll use this. So some people really like this database. So first thing that we're going to do, I'll illustrate Scopus, and then we'll go back to the keywords for the library assignment. So do you remember hearing about graphene? Oops, let me shout. Graphene. Graphene is like a single layer, maybe a single atomic layer, I'm not quite sure, of carbon. And it was something that was created in a lab, and it hasn't quite gotten out of the lab yet, but it has all these cool properties. And it was very, very exciting. The founders, discoverers of graphene got Nobel Prizes in chemistry and all things like that. So if we go and we look at graphene, there's 250,000 articles. And you can see in the time range, we're like, well, what's the most important article? You could arguably go through 250,000 articles, but that would give you all sorts of issues with bias. And it's like, well, what matters to me? So what we do is we look at, over here on the side, we look at the number of times that something has been cited. Obviously, this biases towards older stuff, but you can sort by the number of times that something has been cited. And here you see the Nobel Prize winners. First published in 2007. And This has been cited 34,000 times. What this means is this findings in this article were so valuable that these 34,801 articles couldn't exist unless they cited this one. That's impact. That's where you get like Nobel. That's how they figure out Nobel Prizes. It's impact. Does it make a difference? Pretty fascinating stuff, isn't it? But wait, there's more. You can click on these 34,000 and you can say, okay, out of all those articles, what was the one that got cited the most out of those articles? And on and on and on down the rabbit hole. So let's go back and do a search. What I want you to do, I'm looking on my other monitor here, is I want you to talk about anything related to your class. Do your classwork, please. Don't just do this for my sake. What I'd like you to do is think of an issue, a problem, a solution, something that you're working on, and then a population. We did this in class a couple of times. So for my issue, I'm going to do, unemployment or underemployment or job security, or I might even do, no, I'm not going to do employment. So think of all the different things. So my issue is going to be not people who are perfectly happy with their jobs and perfectly employed, but people who don't have as much work as they want. And then what population am I focusing on? Shall we focus on college students again? Let's do college student. Oh, remember I can do a star. Or undergraduate. Star means undergraduate or undergraduates. Or university student star. Remember, I'm putting stuff in quotes so those two keywords stick together, right? And I'm putting an or because I don't know if it's going to be described in the literature as a college student or an undergraduate or university student. Think of synonyms and related terms. Did I just do Monty Burns? Excellent. In this database, Scopus and Web of Science, we just get the top stuff that's bubbled to the top. So there'll be no newspapers. There'll be no kind of lower tier journals. This is like the most respected journals in all of the disciplines. It's kind of fun. Search for anything in this one. So out of these 747, the first one that you're going to find, there's two things you have to do though. The first one you are finding is the one that is cited the most out of your search. You might have to try different searches. But you have to find the one that matters most to your work. So don't just arbitrarily pick the top one. So I'm like, no, I was wanting to talk about employment, not self-esteem. Labor markets. Oh, there we go. Dropping out of university. That one looks pretty good. Or perceived employability among undergraduates. That one actually looks better. So use your own criteria of what you're doing research on for your final projects or what you're working on currently. Don't just arbitrarily pick one because it matters for the second article that you pick. So for example, I like this one. The title looks good. For the how useful is related documents? I'm not going to answer that question. So what you can do, graduates, I mean, you can read the abstract. Use the abstract. Use the article in your research that you're working on. But for the point of this assignment, you don't have to translate anything because I'm just going to look at the article that you picked and the journal that it came from and the date that it was published and all sorts of things like that. That is the first one. So you have to do a perfect APA citation. This one does not have a citation generator, so I suggest using ZBib. ZBib, you can put in, here's your latest citation tool. All you have to do is take the document object, all you have to do, and put it into ZBib, and miraculously, it'll spit out an entry for you. But don't forget, we want lowercase, unless it's, so there's like all sorts of issues with this one. This can't be. Oh, I have to scroll down, that's why. Oh. I was like, this is all wrong. Right. Okay, I'll edit them. Ooh. Oh, it actually did a really good job. Oh, hot dog. So zbib is really good. So cut and paste that. And then tell me, how many times was it cited on Scopus, or Web of Science? This one was cited 127 times. The next thing that I would like you to do is go out in those 127 articles, and I would like you to find another one. Since this was published in 2017, 127, that's a lot. That's got great impact. I would like you to go through the documents that cited the original and pick another one. Oh, self-perception. Education. What actually works. So you just have to pick another one. So the first one, on your topic, highly cited, number of citations, APA citation. The second one should come from the cited articles, again, sorted by number of times cited. And you just pick another one, cite that, and tell us how many times it was cited in Scopus. If the number of citations is 0 in the second one, that's okay. For the first one, try and find one that has at least one other document that's citing it. Otherwise, it doesn't arguably have impact that we're looking for in this assignment. It's been great working with you this semester. Do reach out, and I hope to see you in spring. Happy Thanksgiving.